what's going on? It's Jando. Today I'm bringing you my first ever video. This one's going to be a tutorial on basses, and specifically stab basses and foghorn basses. Something that's been used for like quite a long time in the drum and bass scene now, and it still seems to be very popular. So we're going to focus on that today, as well as we'll be looking at the sub bass, and how we can mix the sub bass in with the bass, as well as the drums, and how we can mix the bass in with those drums as well. So without further ado, this is what the bass sounds like. So yeah, that's the bass. We're going to jump straight into the breakdown of this bass and how I made it, and sort of the other things that you can do with this bass to sort of adapt the sounds more. But we'll start off with just a Serum patch on its own, so I'll turn all of these off. And yeah, and we'll take a listen to the sound just on its own. So straight out of Serum, it's a very dry patch. There's not really a lot to it, but you can hear the potential in the sound. And obviously a lot of people know the lengths distortion can go to and what distortion can do to basses, so you can hear the potential there. So yeah, we're going to jump straight into it, and we'll jump in with the oscillator A and B. So the first wavetable is going to be harmonic series, and the second one is just going to be basic shapes. And yeah, we'll get straight into how I've made this. So starting off with this harmonic series, I tend to use harmonic series a lot. I discovered, sort of not really discovered it, but I started using it when I realized it was very similar to what you can do with sync and just the basic sine wave. So I started using harmonic series a lot, and as you can see here, we're using FM synthesis as well. So we're going to be wavetable position 3 on here. As you can see with this wavetable, you can really squash the sine wave here, but we're going to stick with number 3 as it's not massively squashed, if you know what I mean. And then we're going to grab oscillator B, and we're going to use basic shapes, and then we're going to go to number 2 here, which is just like a saw wave type thing. But yeah, moving on from that, I tend to do this with literally all of my basses, and that's modulating the level with LFO1 and LFO2, and then we have this, we create the shape here. So we'll modulate this here, like the full sound, so we'll drop the level all the way down, and have the LFO modulating the entire level. We won't be doing that on oscillator B, just because we're using FM synthesis from B, so we won't be having any level here. We'll just be having the FM from the saw wave here. Moving on from that, we're going to have FM synthesis here, we're going to have FM from B, and we're going to have this on about 60%. Just kill my OCD there. We're going to drop the random all the way down, phase stays the same. We're going to have blend at 75, and we're going to have detune straight through the middle. After that, on oscillator B, we're going to have the random all the way down. We're going to have the phase normal, blend 75 again, but this time we're going to have the detune at 0.02. And that's going to be it for oscillator A and B. Apart from up here, when we're going to have this on -173, or as close as you can get it. Like, it doesn't have to be exact. So we'll go for 187 now that I've moved it. We're going to have octave on +1, and then the semitone on -2 here. And then we're going to have this at 2.18, but I've moved it again, so we're going to have it at 209 will be fine. Next, we're going to move on to the sub. I don't use the sub from Serum as the actual low end of the bass, if that makes sense. Like, I'll try and explain it the best I can, but I'm going to be modulating LFO1 onto the level of the bass at 75. And we're not going to be using the low end itself, but we are at the same time. I'll try and explain it the best I can, but we're going to use the grittiness from the low end. So like this low end that we get from the sub bass, it causes a lot of grittiness within the bass. And then we're going to use the EQ to take that low end off the bass, but the grittiness will still remain. So yeah, we're going to have that there. Then we're going to move on to the noise, and we're going to have AC hum 1. I think it's just a standard one that is automatically with Serum on a new preset. And we're going to have that on about 25%. Moving on from there, we're going to go to LFO2 quickly, and just try and copy these shapes here to the best you can. If you're trying to make like the exact same sort of stab or the exact same sort of foghorn, but literally mess around with it as much as you can. I can guarantee you're going to make like crazy different sounds with it. What I tend to do with like all of my presets, I'll load an old preset and I'll just mess around with it and come out with this brand new sound. So yeah, move over to LFO2, and we're going to do the same thing with the modulation here. We're going to put this on level. We're going to put this on the level of oscillator A, and then we're going to put it on the level of the noise oscillator, and we're going to have that at 20. And then over here, we're going to move on to the filter as well. So on the filter with LFO1, we're going to have the cutoff here at about, we'll do like we'll do like 943 hertz, or again as close as you can get it. And the filter is going to be on for oscillator A and B. It's not going to be on for noise or sub though. Again, we're going to modulate this with LFO1, and it's going to be all the way down to 65, which is all the way down. I mean, it can go all the way, but we're going to do 65 here on the filter for the cutoff. I haven't really messed with any of the res or anything like that. Like, just try and copy this the best that you can. And then going on to LFO2, again, we're modulating the cutoff, and this time the drive as well. But as you can see, the cutoff is not as much as it was before. So this one's only going to be on 25, and then we're going to modulate the drive to about 25 as well. Modulating the drive is going to give it that little boost. As you can see, it peaks here. The drive is going to peak up to a maximum of 25 here when this peaks here, and the same with this as well. But obviously we don't have the drive modulating for LFO1. We're going to be moving down to this bit here, where you can obviously see the rates, and then like obviously all of the settings that I have on here. These, like, you don't need to have triple dot on for any of these. I've just got them turned on because sometimes I use triple dot. But we're going to have both of them on trigger. LFO1 is going to be on a 1 bar, and then LFO2 is going to be on 1/8. And yeah, that's all that we're doing there. So yeah, we'll move on to the FX now. So the first effects that we have is distortion. We've only got a small amount of distortion here. We've got about 21%, and we're using tube distortion as well. Next, we've got the compressor. We are using the multiband on this, and I'll show you all of the percentages here so that you can see. But this is really like push the grittiness of the bass. So for example, we'll show you it now. With it on, with it off, you can really hear the difference. I mean, without the multiband on, the highs are really quite harsh. So we've tamed them a bit with the multiband, and we've also pushed that low and mid up a little bit. But again, the low end is not going to be pure low end, and we're not going to use that as the sub bass. As I said, we're going to use the EQ and take that off at the end, but we'll still get the grittiness from that. I know it says it's modulating here, but we're not actually modulating anything. That's just me being too lazy to take stuff off. And I'm still probably not going to take it off either. But moving on to the filter, we're going to use the Combs filter here. The Combs filter or the reverb filter is two really good filters to use, and you can get some crazy sounds by just messing around with the cutoff and the res. But we're going to have the cutoff. We're going to have the cutoff all the way up. Yeah, we're going to be modulating the drive here. I've just realised that we were actually modulating the fucking gain. But yeah, so we're going to be modulating the drive here. This is going to be at 25, and then the gain here we are actually modulating apparently, so that's going to be at 12. As an example of what we can do with the cutoff and the res, like I'll just show you just by pulling the cutoff back. Just some really weird sounds you can get out of that. I've made a couple of sounds in some jump up tunes by messing around with the cutoff on the reverb filter. Some really rancid ones. Some proper like metallic type stuff. Something that you'd hear Master Error using. Hello! Yeah, that's everything in this patch for the first part of it. We don't really have anything going on in the matrix really. But we'll move on to the layer bass that I've done for this. So yeah, I'll let you listen to the layer quickly so you can hear the difference, but there's not a massive difference here. You can obviously hear that it's higher in pitch, and if you see here with the wavetable position, that's because I've pushed it from 2 to 5, and it gives it that little bit more. So if you really mess around with the wavetable position on harmonic series, the higher that you go and the more like squashed together you have it here, the screechier your bass is going to be. So I'll show you an example. So yeah, you can hear the difference there. I mean, it's really cool to mess around with. You can get some cool like old styles jump up basses from it. There's definitely potential there to get some really cool stuff out of it. But yeah, moving on to the post-processing again, it's all going to be the same. And I've just realised that I didn't show you the multiband settings. So the multiband settings are going to be 62% on the high, the mid's going to be 130, and the low is going to be 130 as well. So yeah, that's the serum patch in a nutshell. There's like, it's not a massively complex thing, but like really messing around with stuff is where I tend to find, well, what I tend to find myself doing a lot and get into these sort of patches. But yeah, moving on from that, we're going to be covering some of the post-processing on this base, probably the most key part of the base, and this makes it what it is basically. First off, it's going to be distortion, obviously. This one's going to be Camel Crusher. Honestly, it's such a basic distortion plugin, but I use it all the time. It's so good. But yeah, so we're just using the British Clean preset just to add like a bit of grit and a bit of volume to the bass. After that, we're going to be using the Capitator. This is hands down one of the best distortion plugins there is. This is competing with some of the analog gear that I've come across before. It's an incredible plugin. But yeah, so we're going to have the drive on 4, we're going to have this set to E, and I've messed around with the tone a little bit. You don't have to have Decapitator for this, but this plugin is what is creating the sort of grittiness to the bass. I'll show you an example here quickly. If I turn this off and we listen to the bass now, and then we'll turn it back on. So you can hear the grittiness that this is causing to the bass. So if you don't have this plugin, you can do this with another distortion plugin. You're just going to have to sort of mess around with it a little bit. After that, we've got Valhalla Supermassive. This plugin is free on the Valhalla website, and it's a really good reverb plugin. I tend to use this for the width that you can add to your reverb. So here I've got the delay extremely low. It's literally on 12.6 milliseconds. It's a very low delay. This is purely just creating some width on the bass. I'll show you here. Giving it that sort of metallic sound. And then after that, we've got another Valhalla, which is, this one has a bit more on the delay, which is creating a little bit of tail for the reverb, but not a massive amount. And after that, we've got Tau Reverb. This is like the main reverb plugin that's creating this tail end to the reverb. This is, again, it's a free plugin. I'm not sure if you can even get it anymore, but yeah, hands down, really good plugin. After that, we're just using a glue compressor. And then we have FabFilter Pro Q3 for the EQing. And like I said, we've taken off the low end and a little bit of the mids here, and then a small boost on this mid-high section, and then we dip it here a little bit on the highs. So yeah, that's all it is for this bass. Like the post-processing is the exact same for the layer as well. It's not a massive amount goes into the bass. I know it might look like a lot, but it's really not that much. And a lot of messing around with presets and post-processing, you can get some really, really cool sounding basses. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. This is my first ever tutorial that I'm actually doing that's not a part of Patreon. All of the Patreons that I do are sort of raw and uncut footage. But yeah, first attempt at one. Let me know in the comments if it's good. Let me know in the comments what other sort of tutorials that you want to see, whether it's drums, effects, other basses, anything. Just let me know in the comment section. And if you did like the video, make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and let me know about more tutorials that you want to see. Also, if you want to grab this plugin for free rather than copying it all down and everything, I will be posting up my Patreon, and I'll link my Patreon in the description below. This will be on tier 1 and tier 2. Tier 2 will most likely get the whole Ableton file for this. So if you have all of these plugins here, you'll get the full ASD, I think that's what it's called. So you'll just be able to load this in, and then this Serum preset and all of these preset plugins will come up for you as well, providing that you have all of the plugins. And I'll also attach the sub bass that I've used for this, so that you can use a sub with this bass as well. But yeah, like I said, like, comment, subscribe if you like the video. So